Okay, so what is Blockstack? Blockstack is a decentralized computing platform, and also it is a movement to build a better internet where users' fundamental digital rights are protected. So why do we need something like this? These days, in the age of cloud computing, these large internet companies violate our digital rights. We're being tracked everywhere. Our private data is being sold to advertisers for profit, and there's massive data leaks every other day where your personal data is compromised. If you've been reading the news today, Capital One had a massive data leak today where 6 million Canadians had their personal data exposed, which includes things like your name, address, birthday, your SIN number, your income, your credit card balances, all that stuff, right? And we don't think that these big companies should have the ability to make these kind of mistakes and lead to this kind of massive data leak. If you know about Google, their tagline was, don't be evil. And we think that it should instead be, can't be evil. We don't think that any company should have the ability to decide or be powerful enough to decide whether or not they should be evil or not. So how does Blockstack work? The basis of Blockstack is the Stacks blockchain. And on top of the Stacks blockchain, we've built a self-sovereign identity system called Blockstack naming system. And attached to that is the user-owned data storage, which we call Gaia. And additionally, we've recently released a preview of our smart contract language, which can be used on the Stacks blockchain. So to start, the Stacks blockchain is currently it's a level 2 blockchain on top of the Bitcoin blockchain. But we've created this new novel tunable proof consensus, which is a combination of proof of work and proof of burn. So what this is essentially when you start a new blockchain, there's very little hashing power. There's only a few people doing the mining. And as a result, it's very easy for somebody to have more than 51% of the hash power and be able to take over the blockchain. So with proof of burn, the miners will burn Bitcoin and receive Stacks tokens as a mining reward on the Stacks blockchain, which means that we're actually utilizing the hash power of the Bitcoin blockchain in order to bootstrap the Stacks blockchain. And this means that it's much, much harder for someone to gain over 51% of the network on the Stacks blockchain. So we've built the identity system and smart contract system on-chain. And our philosophy is that only the most critical components that need this sort of secure system will be on-chain. Everything else should be performed off-chain. This is in contrast to Ethereum's way of putting everything onto the chain and building a world computer. We don't think that's ultimately scalable when you have millions and millions of users. Evidently, last year, I believe, or 2 years ago, when CryptoKitties, if you all know CryptoKitties, when it first became popular, they basically congested the Ethereum blockchain, and you basically couldn't do anything else on the blockchain. So the identity system, which we built, we call it the BNS, Blockstack Naming System. We envisioned this as a decentralized replacement to DNS, so that in the future we could completely replace all the centralized components of the current internet protocol. So right now, it is implemented as a smart contract. So you can register domain names or usernames using Blockstack by sending a transaction and burning either Bitcoin or Stacks tokens. And once you register this name, you own this name and nobody else, including Blockstack, the apps that you use, or anyone else, would have control over your identity. So as long as you own the private key, you have complete ownership and control over this name. So you can use this name to sign into all sorts of apps. Currently, just in our app mining program, which Blockstack is sponsoring, there are over 170 apps which you can use and log in with your Blockstack ID. So it works similarly to Google sign-in or Facebook login, except there's no third party that is in between you and the apps that you use. And attached to this identity system, we also have a decentralized storage system. So we've basically repurposed existing cloud storage like AWS, Google Cloud, Dropbox to act as your personal cloud storage bucket. And whenever you use an app on Blockstack, instead of your data being saved onto a server that this app owns or controls, your data is saved to wherever you specify. And everything is encrypted client-side. So nobody other than you or the people that you choose can see your data. And there is no possibility that a single company makes a mistake and millions of people will have their data exposed. So this is a diagram that kind of illustrates what it looks like.
Do we ask questions during or after the presentation?
Maybe after.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So this diagram is the world today where the app that you use, for example, Facebook, is sort of like the data broker in between you and the apps you use and other users. With Gaia, this is flipped. So you're your sole agent, and you can choose who we want to share this data with, and you give permission to apps to read whatever data that they're requesting. So for the average user, how do you use Blockstack? We have what we call a browser, the Blockstack browser, which you can easily create a Blockstack ID. It's a free ID that you can create, and you can use it to sign into different Blockstack apps. If you want to install it, just go to blockstack.org/install. And we'll try to do a demo after this. And if you're looking for what kind of apps are available right now, you can go to app.co, which is an aggregation of all the apps that have been built on Blockstack so far. So if you're a developer, Blockstack is very easy to start using. The main JavaScript library, Blockstack.js, is very simple to use. Blockstack apps are client-side only. So as a developer, you don't need to worry about building a server database backend. Where you don't have to worry about all the security issues that come with having a server. You don't need a smart contract or know how to build smart contracts to get started. Most Blockstack apps today don't use smart contracts, but it's there, and if you want to, you can certainly use it. There's also iOS and Android SDKs that we've built, so you can build native Blockstack mobile apps. Yeah, and everything is open source, so you could go on GitHub and audit the code, submit a pull request if you see something that you don't like, raise an issue. We are an open platform. So this is just a quick example of how easy it is to get started with Blockstack. This is a JavaScript, just a single line of code that invokes Blockstack sign-in. And this will redirect the user to the Blockstack browser, or if they have the native version installed, they can quickly grant permission and sign into the app that you've built. And basically after this, you also have access to a storage bucket for this user on your app. So you can write and read files to this bucket using the get file and put file commands. And you don't have to worry about where this data goes, and you don't have to worry about how much storage this user is using. And that's it for the overview. I guess, does anyone have questions before we do like a demo?